Recording. Recording. Good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order the Roscoe Village Board meeting Tuesday, September 19th. If you would all join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for the nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for leading us. Yeah, they're going on so nice. Sweet. No, I'm gonna. Right.
Yep.
Simon.
Here.
Malco.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Teddy. Here. Babcock.
Present.
Essex. Here. Item number 4, public comments. Is there anyone who has a question or issue to raise? Going, on. No public comment. Item number 5. I would like to call upon Chief Hawley to swear in Ryan Kelly as you read position of sergeant with the Village of Roscoe. And you have a few words to introduce Sergeant to all of us.
There would be more officers here right now, but we have something going on right now, so otherwise there's way more support. Not a part of our department, so.
Moral support.
This officer Ryan Kelly, he was hired by the Winnebago County Sheriff's Department and graduated from the Police Training Institute in 2007. He started with the Roscoe Police Department part-time in 2011 and was sworn in full-time in 2012. Since being hired by the Roscoe Police Department, he has been a field training officer, firearms instructor, OC instructor, use of force instructor, and has overseen the sex offender program. He served as a detective since February of 2021 and was assigned to the ICAC task force during that time. ICAC is Internet Crimes Against Children. It's a state team. He's married to Pav and has 2 children, aged 10 and 7 years old. Oh. Raise your right hand. I say your name.
Ryan Kelly,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
I will faithfully discharge my duties as Sergeant of the Police Department
I will faithfully discharge my duties as Sergeant of the Roscoe Police Department
of the Village of Roscoe, Winnebago County, Illinois,
of the Village of Roscoe, Winnebago County, Illinois,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Hard to find a space.
Congratulations. Should take one. Perfect. I do a couple. You got my name. That's give them to you.
Come here.
Good, everybody. All right.
Carolina, come here.
Sir.
Oh, that's okay. Yep. You did this.
Next to me.
You come up.
Getting good at it. And read all the numbers and everything. I heard.
Ooh, back up. Watch your mom.
We're all, come on, yeah.
Ancestor, whoever else.
My sister's doing no.
Going on, item number 6.1. Calling upon our treasurer, well, first I guess, is there something that the treasurer would like to report on regarding the cash report or year-to-date revenue?
I'll do the bills real quickly and then turn the year-to-date over.
Okay,
Rolls
all right. So is there a motion to approve the bills?
So moved.
Second. Want me to read my numbers?
Well, we'll do that.
Okay.
Well, and then we'll go back and do it. Are there any questions regarding the bills?
I have two. One I've already spoken
Okay,
to Sam about this. Would Sam explain Axon bundle bill?
The Axon bundle bill, this one, we get billed with two separate things. One is for the body cameras and tasers and storage, redaction software and everything else. This one right here is for the Axon Air. It's for the drone. That also includes not only the drone itself, but then also includes unlimited storage, flight plan stuff, pilot license that came with that.
And it's a yearly bill.
It's a yearly bill. I was trying to look earlier and I tied up on some stuff, so.
I know I
believe it, I believe it's a 4 or 5 year contract. I want to say it's 4, but.
I thought it was 5, it might be 4.
Yeah, I'm not positive. Most of their contract is 5, but for some reason I want to. But majority of them.
And we, in our conversation earlier,
Yes.
I asked if we ever used it.
For a law enforcement purpose, I mean, we've. And it's actually up in the air right now. Actually being used. And just coincidentally, prior to that, there's been a few instances where we've could have used it up in the air. However, at the time, we're working on a person right now, a second person to get their license. We only had one person.
Yes. And he
They
left.
were not available at the time, so it was not utilized during that time. Or those times.
thank you. Any other questions?
What's the dog waste station?
Dog waste station, we put that down at Riverside Park. It's it's a little container, it has a little waste paper or waste basket. Then you pull out little doggy bags for pick up after your dog and put them back in the basket. And then we dump that basket when we check the park every day.
Then my question would be, why aren't they at other parks?
This is the first one we bought. We're trying it at the park because there's a lot of people that use that park with dogs. We'll see how it goes, and if people are using it, then I will put it into the budget for other parks.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Other questions?
See, we got candy. Do we have enough parade candy?
Yes, yes.
Good.
Yes,
We have enough Halloween candy?
yes.
Did we run out?
We did run out. We did not have enough.
Oh, again, throwing out with both hands, it goes faster. One hand,
Well, we're a couple bags short. What should we allocate for next year?
We got, what, 3/4 of the way through?
I
Yeah,
got all the way through.
you were giving out one piece. Yeah, one piece per kid.
It
It
was,
took you a while.
it was deposited into their bags. Any other questions? Let's call for a vote on the bills.
Babcock,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes,
Malaco,
Yes.
Flock,
Yes.
Simon.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Item 6.3, year-to-date revenues and expenditures. A copy of that was put in your documents. If you have any questions or if you haven't had a chance to look it over, you can raise questions next go round, but general broad strokes.
Sure, yeah, I think from last month to this month, it's not a big change. I think next couple of months you spend more money. We're at about 72% in revenue. The budget year, 67%. One of the biggest changes there is your interest income. Obviously, that's significant, more than budget, which is good. But page 3. Talked about these last time. IT is over. You know what's going on there. And then page 4. There was a Civics Plus software that was purchased for qualifications. That's what we're budget. So we'll have to kind of look into that one. It'd just be a classification thing. I mean, otherwise, there's really from month to month, there's really not much change from month to month. So I think right now we're in good shape.
I think something else that may have probably just mislabeled, liquor commission expenses year to date are
What page?
on page 5. I just checked it, $40.
Probably someone's pay or just got put in the wrong account because they get $40 a meeting for liquor commission.
Yep, could be.
So,
Keep looking at that. If it's just. We can talk about that.
and I would like to know if this is possible 2 weeks from now. If at the committee of the whole, we have been doing tutorials. Can you at that time present everyone with the budget timeline, working backward, you know, when do we do various tasks so that we meet all of the legal obligations for getting things in and posting? And then also present to everyone a tutorial on tax levy, tax rates, and the
Do you want me
assessments.
to bring a copy of the,
We can print that.
or you want me to bring a copy of that? Get a copy of the current, oh, my mind just stopped working, but what comes from the clerk?
Right,
Yeah.
the timeline. Oh, yes.
No, the
What I asked you for. Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have that. Yes, we
The
can,
worksheet, right?
Yeah.
we can make copies of that for everyone here. And for those.
Certainly. We can do it.
Thank you. Anyone have any other questions? Thank you very much.
Certainly.
Appreciate it. Okay, going on then to 7.1. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from September 5?
So move.
Second.
Petty,
Yes.
Flock,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Malaco,
Yes.
Simon.
Yes.
8.1, may I have a motion to approve the Class T temporary liquor license for RJR Gaming, also known as Benny Slots, for the one-day event to be held at Leland Park on Saturday or Sunday, October 22nd.
So moved. Second.
Malaco,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Flock,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Babcock.
Yes.
Item number 10. I would respectfully ask if someone could make a motion to suspend the rules here. Again, we have one of these timing issues. This grant is, I believe, due at the end of this month. And so necessitates us moving quickly on this. So is there a motion to suspend the rules?
Some.
Second.
Wright,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Flock,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Malaco,
Yes.
Babcock.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve resolution 2023 R45, a resolution supporting and authorizing the commitment of local funds related to the village's grant application for the U.S. Department of Transportation Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods program?
So moved. Second.
Simon,
Yes.
Flock,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Malaco.
Yes.
Item 11, old business. I'd like to review a couple of things for everyone, for old business, and feel free to ask questions, and Scott, you can clarify. Scott and I have been meeting with several entities and pushing forward our infrastructure programs. And those being Love Road, Willowbrook, and Main Street. So let's just focus on what we have been doing regarding Love Road and Willowbrook. Phase 1 of that, as all of you know, the general plans have been completed, but not the plans for bidding. Those are yet to be done. And the design process of this took a long period of time. If you remember, part of the authorization of this and the expenditures began back in April of 2020. And the reason this has been so long a journey for us is that the Illinois Department of Transportation here had different ideas of the scope of the work. And with these conversations going back and forth, that extended the time frame of this. So what we ended up with is more road that is required, about 10,000 feet, according to IDOT, and also several intersections, which will now have signals. So all of that added to design costs and also time delays. And all of this design work was done around the concept of, and again, this was a back and forth conversation, replace the bridge or have the existing bridge. So now everything is centered around the existing bridge. So that was our first phase. The end result, as I said, is that it's going to cost us more because of those inherent problems as well as inflation. The second part of this is what Seth referred to as phase 2. And phase 2 is submitting the final 300 pages for IDOT to review.
Per project,
Pardon me?
per project.
Per project, yes. So quite an undertaking. Now, all of us on this board have seen this as a priority. Now, what we have been able to do is to engage our local lawmakers, and I want to extend a great deal of thank you to Representative Cabello, because he has been instrumental in helping us develop a strategic plan for this, as well as bring to the table people who we can convince to have them embrace the idea that it is the priority of the state as well. So what is going to happen is that Seth is going to meet with Representative Cabello and demonstrate how IDOT and its expansion of scope and time have cost us money. And that he is going to use his good offices to try to do whatever he can to encourage IDOT to see that this is a priority with us, and we'll go from there. So that's been in the works. And as I said, there will be several more meetings regarding this. It's a torturous path. There will also be a meeting, if we take a look at Main Street, again, through Representative Cabello's auspices, bringing Commonwealth Edison to the table so that we can reach some kind of agreement as to what the cost sharing will be when we finally get to that project dealing with the infrastructure or the electrical there. So questions, comments? Now Scott will put out a memo with a more detailed timeline and more general information, but I just wanted all of you to know that this has been something ongoing for several weeks, and it is a lot of material and bringing a lot of people here into the process. But I feel good about where we are with this, and the grant writing of this also will happen. But the conversation laid out to me was that you need to have both the detailed plans as well as a cost estimate, so that you can then submit this in the time frame. We just don't know yet as to when that grant writing opportunity presents itself. Seth indicated sometimes it can be a short window, 2 to 3 weeks. Scrambling to get all of these things together. So we're ahead of the curve here. Okay, so to speak. No puns intended. Yes.
The bridge you're talking about is over I-90?
Right.
Okay.
And as I said, all of the design work has been around the concept that that bridge is the existing bridge. So you make the roads for that existing bridge, because who knows when the tollway will get around to doing that.
Okay.
It's not in its current 5-year plan. And so we couldn't delay our project waiting upon if that bridge is done. Questions?
So we'd use that current bridge.
Yes. Yes. Things will be tapered in and out. Right. Anything you'd
Is there
like to
kind of
add?
visual of this, what's gonna be done?
Yes. Yes. There are some designs. You wish to see them? Is that what you're saying?
That was kind of the idea of the
Okay.
question.
Okay. We can get some rough designs to you to take a look at. Yeah.
Well, they're far beyond rough. They're very detailed. They're like Jill referenced, this is culminated in a 300 page plan set. The trick is making that more digestible
Yeah, so
in an exhibit form.
What we were thinking is maybe the plan and profile sheets, instead of all the grading sheets,
Even
look at
first, just a simple
kind of like we did.
comprehensive site plan, or project.
Right.
Because right now it's all broken up by match lines, and you flip through page after page after page.
So you need that for all.
Kind of like what we looked at the other day,
We can get that.
Yeah. just in general.
The only thing I'll add in to echo that is that these projects particularly love Willowbrook have found themselves in a bit of a catch-22. This has been a long process. It always is long. It's a complicated process and a lot of intersection design studies. That's what we have been working through. That's what Fair Graham has been working through, is the intersection design studies for 5 different intersections. With multiple additional requests from IDOT. You do one, then they go, okay, now we want to study it this way. And you do it again. Now we want to study it this way. It's not an exact science. It is, there's a certain crystal ball, traffic projections, things like that. But the catch-22, it's a long process anyway. IDOT is understaffed, but also I don't think that our projects have been considered their top priority. And that it's known and understandable that unfunded projects might get pushed to the side during review. Yet it's tough to get a project funded that isn't done and permitted. There's the catch-22. And that's where our Congressman Cabello and others, I think, are willing to really step forward, bring IDOT to the table quite literally, and say these need to be a priority. These need to navigate through your review process quickly. For all the time we've spent, that's only just to agree on all the parameters of the design so that the design can now be submitted to the local agency. Been done at a larger level at IDOT. Now it will go to District 2's local roads, which is a friendlier entity, quite frankly. And I think we have backing now to have them treat it as a priority.
So maybe I missed something, but okay, after all that's done, what's the objective of why we're doing this?
The objection, economic development, it's a highly traveled area. And once you have this infrastructure in place, you will be able to support development in the 4 corners of those areas. Willowbrook, Brockton, Love Road. With Love Road, you increase frontage, access, and ability to build along I-90. It means the economic growth of the village. Yes.
It wasn't a hard question. I just, hadn't known anything about it really. So just wondered. So Love Road is on the east side of 90.
Right. Right.
And so is it gonna straighten the road out, expand the road?
Yes. And eventually, a signal will go in at the problem intersection of McCurry and Love.
Okay.
Forgive us, I think that we take for granted that some of the newer trustees have been on this journey for 3
That
years.
one,
So absolutely.
That's true.
We'll put together a summary, even just give you, the funny thing is, we've been doing this for meetings for elected officials, just need to share it all with.
Right, we talk in our
Yes, as
sleep
well.
about it sometimes.
Yeah.
And the one thing that we had heard is that the state of Illinois does have infrastructure dollars in the billions here. We just need them to realize that our priority should be their priority. And our legislators, we believe, will be helpful in doing that. Not promising something instantaneous, but it's
I've heard that the intersection is rated poorly, but what exactly is wrong with that intersection?
I'll let our engineer.
Yep, so in broader terms, it's related to traffic essentially. So there's a rating system from IDOT, levels A through E. It's called a level of service. That's, it includes things like stacking distance for vehicles, how fast people can get through, green lights, stop signs, things like that. So each intersection is graded. That intersection specifically is undersized for the amount of semi-truck traffic that it has. So you don't get a lot of traffic through. People are waiting longer. The radii, are very tight. They're not turn friendly when you're going through the intersection. It's it's a mess, I
So
guess.
it's just, the road would be expanded, but the bridge would stay the same size?
Correct, until that gets replaced. So I believe that's
Because we don't have control of the bridge, the toll.
correct. So they were involved in the review process because we're utilizing the on-ramps onto the interstate. So they know that it's coming, but at this time, it's not in their plan to replace the bridge. So we know that traffic generated in that area for future growth, I believe will require it to be additional lanes to be added to that bridge. So
What's it rated now?
the intersection as a whole, so each actual turning movement is rated. So, you know, you might have a different level of service for a, you know, a left-hand turn through the intersection than you would going straight through the intersection, things like that.
My understanding, southbound left is E, correct?
Yeah, I don't know those numbers. I would assume so. I know that's one of the problem legs.
When this first came
Very
out,
important.
essentially our roads will not handle additional traffic as they currently are, is why we're doing this.
Correct. I believe that Winnebago County has even spread it or expressed their concerns in past developments that have come to that area. And we've had to indicate that, you know, the intersection is not.
It says the DOT.
Yep.
Who has review authority over when we're doing plans for new development, all these entities. Because IDOT has something called access control back certain distances along Rockton and then north and south on Willowbrook. So they all get a bite at the apple when we have a new project, even a private development going in, even when Speedway went in. And the need, the awareness for an expanded intersection was identified at that time, and Speedway had to donate additional land, and they actually had to revise their site, moving everything about 30 feet farther south to make way for an expanded intersection down the road. The left turn movement south, there's a single left turn lane is the single biggest bottleneck, and that backs truck traffic down Rockton and even sometimes down the ramp. And we could approach a level where further development to the south could be blocked or denied because of the adverse impacts on traffic.
So
Another chicken and the egg.
So there'll be light then at McCurry and Willowbrook and Love and McCurry. Roads will
Eventually.
be expanded from that intersection back to the Rockton Road.
Correct.
And then,
And
not
we'll-
beyond that,
Pardon?
not further. I guess you wouldn't go any further than that.
It'll go from, and on Rockton Road, it'll go from the bridge abutment on either side. Improvements widening to the intersections, to Willowbrook Road intersection, and then to the Love Road intersection, which is being relocated because that jug handle will be straightened out. And then a significant distance even farther beyond, especially to the west, turn lanes and taper distance all the way past the entrance to North Point. It results in signalization of both of those of Willowbrook and Love as they go down to McCurry. Those will now be signalized, and again, longer tapers, longer improvements than we had initially anticipated. And then the domino effect means even the intersection, Willowbrook is offset at McCurry. So the western leg of McCurry that goes south, that intersection gets reconstructed also, but not signalized. That one didn't require a signal, but the northbound one.
It won't be straightened out. You still do the offset.
Correct.
Is there a way to straighten out by that cornfield or?
It used to swoop, and the swoop was taken out to make them straighter. I'm sure the arced geometry was less safe. I think they like right angle crossings, so I don't know if there's a way. It's not in the set of plans.
So part of this conversation that Representative Cabello is going to have with
Can you
I
share,
got-
Joe?
is to also demonstrate that they ever going back and forth conversations and delays has not only cost money for us in several respects, the engineering costs also, in addition to the building costs. So coming before you sometime in the future will be a request for additional expenditure on engineering related to these changes that were mandated.
I just want to point out, I don't know if I have a drawing tool enabled right here. But this is looking at bisecting east-west in the middle of the screen is McCurry Road and then the offset legs of Willowbrook. If you look, you can see the remnant of where the road used to pass as a curve and back up. And there's a big sweeping curve that resulted in an intersection that wasn't at right angles. So it certainly predates all of us sitting here, I think, but at some point those were straightened out and that sweep was removed. But this Willowbrook and McCurry will be signalized, Love, And McCurry will be signalized, which will be to everyone's joy.
That'll be a party.
Love Road, as it extends north, gets realigned and brought up to Rockton for an intersection that is offset a little farther east than the current location. It involves moving a box culvert, a bridge structure on this creek, which has been a lengthy process with DNR that is now complete. And then, of course, the most significant intersection improvements are at Willowbrook and Rockton. And those roadway improvements go all the way back here to the entrance into North Point Healthcare Campus. And all the way up to the firehouse, all the way up to our northern village limit.
So originally, when you ask what will that do, if you take a look at the whole quadrant, all 4 quadrants there, I guess that's redundant. When you look at all of the corners, there's the opportunity to attract and build out.
The idea is that an improved logistics rectangle that can serve almost 700 acres when you offset a reasonable distance from that. That will at some point be developed.
And we've also brought on board our county partners who also see the potential here and are supportive.
Can you continue that all the way till it gets to 4-lane to 251? You're saying it's gonna stop at the North Point entrance there? You're gonna go down to 2 lanes for a little bit?
Good question. Technically, Rockton, we've been trying not to bite off any more improvements to Rockton than necessary, as it's not our road. And we're doing the county a big favor here by rebuilding, but we do expect, and they have indicated that if we are successful with funding, they will likely participate in our local share. So if there's an 80-20 grant opportunity that comes, if there's a 20% local match, discussing with them, 10% being the village, 10% being Winnebago County. We haven't taken it any farther than we've been dictated to take it yet, as it's not ours. I'll tell you, when we not a secret, it was discussed openly, but we coordinated or worked with Mybor Trucking for quite a while to bring a large facility up here. They went a different direction. They bought a lot of smaller facilities instead of building one large one, and now they've largely relocated out of state. But one thing they really wanted, the roads were insufficient. There's going to be a lot of truck traffic, and roads were insufficient for that. And they wanted to have a counterclockwise pattern to not overutilize any one road. So they would come southbound on Willowbrook, enter their property that would be south of McCurry there, but then exit across McCurry, go north on Love and get back on the highway that way. They wanted everything flowing counterclockwise through that pattern. Love Road isn't appropriate for it now. So this is always chicken and egg. We see value in the advanced engineering and the planning to be suitable and be ready for development. A lot of these funding opportunities and sometimes getting partners to the table, they prefer to have the end user there already. Right? And what are we doing? We're doing this because of this particular project, and we're doing it for newer projects. But in the end, it will work. And, there's larger consensus now than there has been.
Well, appreciate the explanation.
Any other old business?
I just have a request.
Yes.
When you send out your memo.
Mhm.
I had talked to Ann earlier. Could you include a map of the village that explains village boundaries? You know that, you know that old Chamber of Commerce map?
Yeah.
You know, in the yellow parts?
Yeah. Yes.
I can't find any more of those maps here.
Yeah. You're talking about the folded
Yeah,
map. Yeah.
but that's a great map
Yeah.
to be able to look at, and you can see the zigzag on Love Road going right up to Rockton. I just used it Sunday night.
We can always get maps prepared. That's the beauty of our membership in Wingis, is that, and we talked about this a little earlier
Yeah,
about doing.
we did
We
yesterday.
can do blow-ups, we can do large ones. I have some. I'll dust those off, and if we need newer ones, we'll do newer ones, just so everyone.
But it would be really great for the trustees to see
There's one.
at a glance the boundaries
You know, when I pull back here, it is, I always say that Roscoe looks like, someone's working a puzzle and hasn't started on any of the border pieces yet. Like they started from the inside out, but what's shaded there, if I scroll up and down, it's surprising that we extend north of Prairie Hill. I don't think most people are commonly aware that we're all the way up to the quarry north of Prairie Hill. And we have all this land between Rockton and Prairie Hill. But equally, we have big pockets within our boundaries that aren't. If you look at all of this property here, it's not in the village.
Crazy.
It is, it's interesting to look at.
It's in the township, but not the village.
Yeah, so it would be considered unincorporated Winnebago County. If that's the opposite of the village, would be the county. Everything's in a township, so. Township isn't, mutually exclusive from being in a village. Townships don't have any ordinances that dictate government or rules of development or construction. So if you're in a municipality, you play by the municipality's rules. If you're outside of it, you play by the Winnebago County's rules, unincorporated Winnebago County.
So all the colors,
Just different zoning districts.
that's it. But those green areas, there's no color.
If there's no color, it's not in the village.
Is
Right.
any advantage for us to be looking at those properties? To be
And it's.
That's correct. That's another discussion.
All right, move on.
That is board retreat topic number 2.
Yes.
Any other old business?
I have one
Yes.
thing. I don't know if you have it on you, Sam, the traffic studies for Lismore and Meadow Sweet. But you told me you had it last time. I just have to ask you about it.
I had put this with the packets on the last board meeting. Yes.
Let me pull it up.
Yeah, if you could
Information.
generally go over it.
The first one was Lismore and Marion for southbound traffic. And just the general results were, this was over a 4-day period. The posted speed limit there is 24, the average speed, or I'm sorry, the posted speed limit is 25 miles per hour. The average speed was 24 miles per hour on that road. You do have the highest speed at 43. That can be like, anything as far as they do have glitches too. Where it would sometimes double it on a reflection or something, or it could be, somebody. One single car, 43 miles per hour, yeah, but it was actually, the average speed was 1 mile under the posted speed limit. The other one we did was Meadow Sweet and Angelica. This was northbound traffic. And that was also done over I believe 4-day period.
Yeah, okay, I was just saying, this looks like it spans a 4-day period of data collection.
So
Yeah.
posted speed limit was 25 miles per hour. The average speed was 27. With the highest going through there at 47.
I think what's interesting are the 85th percentile numbers.
Yeah.
They're not, that gives.
85th percentile is 33.
Yeah.
And the other one related to that is 30 miles per hour.
Yeah. It's surprising.
I guess what would your recommendation be? Because I know Wright had asked about a stop sign in Lismore. Is that necessary?
Granted, we've talked about this before. I don't believe that those actually serve much of a purpose in those type of intersections. I'm wrong about that.
Yep, and yeah, I can speak to that again, just from a generic standpoint, stop signs introduce, more areas where traffic can collide from a safety standpoint. That's what our engineering manuals say. Sure, some people, the people who abide by, traffic laws, they will stop at the stop signs. Some people just don't care and they will continue to run them. So, ultimately, none of the data that we, that I can bring from a traffic standpoint will really warrant a stop sign in that area. So ultimately, it's up for you guys to make a decision on if you think it would bring more value.
Your recommendation is no, according to your manuals.
Correct. Yeah.
And then for Meadow Sweet, what's your solution?
For Meadow Sweet.
Is there more patrolling gonna be happening?
Yeah, we've done direct patrols. After we do these, we look at the numbers. I mean, we kind of put these out for directed patrols. Sometimes these can be misleading, just because if you get a younger driver out there at 2 o'clock in the morning, that's kind of where you get those higher speeds. It seems like, somebody that, when we're not around, like, they try to get that number to flag. That's why I mean, it's been known to, as part of it, is that we're hearing about and stuff, that it's not always 100. Those high numbers, just because someone constantly flies down the road. So,
So break it down.
we do direct patrols a lot.
Does that break it down by time? That they,
And they do,
how should
but
I,
it kind of
it's when they speak.
it's hard. We do have times and stuff like that, and that's what we look at. And obviously, majority of the time, your highest amount of traffic is gonna be 5 o'clock. Everybody's getting off work. And that it's usually, or 3 to 7.
Do you have any recommendation for that road, or is it just the same?
There's nothing, I mean, looking at it, there's nothing that I can think of. I mean, as far as any more traffic control in that area, biggest thing is just, we're doing our direct patrols, being seen more than anything, trying to get the traffic slowed down. These two, though, I was actually very shocked as to, like, they weren't bad. I mean, compared to some areas that we have, that we do studies on, so. Yeah, they weren't off the charts by any means or anything, so speed is speed.
Right. Thank you for looking into it.
Any others? Public comment? No public comment? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Meeting adjourned.